turned out that the quitclaim deed that was done a few years back wasn't necessarily done properly. Turns out there was a sibling involved, and then without getting into the weeds of it, it turned out there was actually like six, maybe seven other people who potentially had interest in the property because they were relatives.
My name is Kevin McIntosh, and this is the Closing Table, where we talk to experts about their experience in real estate all across the country. Let's go. Here we are. Welcome back to the Closing Table. I am your host, Kevin C. McIntosh. And joining us on this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with and picking the brain of Daniel Gyomory. How are you, Daniel?
I'm good. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
Hey, appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much, sir. We are here to talk about what's going on specifically in your market with real estate, sir. But before we get into that, let's talk about you. I want to talk about you. First and foremost, I want you to tell us about you in 60 seconds or less. Can you tell us who you are outside of real estate?
Sure. Easily put, just a family guy. I married my beautiful wife. Just had our daughter. She just turned a year old, actually, Navy.
Congratulations.
So hands are full with that. She's growing so quick. Lots of fun stuff going on with that. It's our first child. So, if I'm not selling a bunch of houses, we're at home running around with her. And then we have 2 dogs at home. And houses is all day long, and then families after that. So.
Love that, man. Love to hear about that, being a family, man. I have a 1-year-old myself going on 2 next month. So, yeah, definitely keeps you very busy, very active, and on your toes, man. So congratulations again with that.
Thank you.
All right, so now we got a little bit of insight into who you are outside of real estate. Let's get into real estate. You as a professional, I want you to just briefly describe how you would, describe your personal business model and things of that nature, starting off with how long you've been licensed.
Sure. Believe it or not, it's going on a decade almost. I had to double check that when I saw it. So I've been doing this right out of college. So going on a decade, help all kinds of buyers and sellers, anything from a first-time home buyer to investors who are buying multiple properties a year, and everywhere in between. So it's a good mix.
Love it. All right, great. So most importantly, we should put a location to where you are doing your business. So I have a question for you in regards to describing your current market. Not really a question, I should say, but I want you to describe your current market. This is a 2-part question. 1, describe it geographically. Give as much details, notable landmarks, attractions, things to do, etc. Paint that picture for someone who may have never been to your market. Second fold, go into some of the data, real estate-wise, the economics, average price points, days on the market, things of that nature, anything you have.
Sure. So geographically, it's really encompassing all of Metro Detroit, which is quite a big area. I kind of have a unique situation. I lived on the east side, Macomb County, when I first got into it, so I still have a lot of clients, referrals over on that side of town. I live now on the west side of town, if you will, in a town called South Lyon. It's a little small town. Love it. And I've lived in multiple places in between. So geographically, it's pretty much that whole corridor from, let's say, Brighton, maybe Howell area, all the way over to Macomb. And again, first-time buyers, so you might have a $200,000 price point up to luxury into the $1 million price point. Average, I would say, is in the $350,000 to $400,000. We have a lot of with my clientele are moving into maybe they bought their first home and they're now moving up, starting a family, like you and I, having young kids. Now they're getting into their next house. And at the same time, we have a lot of those clients of mine who their parents are retiring, they're downsizing. So we just have a lot of different people moving for different reasons. But yeah, price points kind of in the $350,000, give or take, and all kinds of different people, all kinds of clients that we can help.
Nice. Good to hear. Yeah, I'm from the Detroit area, which I've mentioned a few times here on the show. So it's interesting to see and or hear how the market has changed throughout the year, honestly. Yeah. Not too much, just small gradual changes, price changes and days on the market. That's been changing over the last few months. But nonetheless, it's still, I would say, relatively affordable compared to the national average, but it is. Yeah, depending on where you are, it can be. Yeah.
I mean, a lot, if you ask people locally, you know, they're going to say it's not as affordable as it was a few years ago. No doubt, I agree.
Correct.
But if you step back and look
Correct.
nationally, home prices themselves and just affordability, you know, just everyday life, we are still in the Midwest. Thankfully, it's a little more affordable than you know, the coast necessarily. So.
Correct, absolutely. So, you know, it's a good trade-off. But interesting. I see you graduated from Michigan State, also a full-time 5-star agent. Very, very notable achievements, by the way, Daniel. So how does your background and education contribute to your approach in real estate, and how do you feel your clients benefit from that? If you have any specific examples via stories.
Yeah, so I think I have a unique background. So to condense it, I grew up on a farm, small beef cattle farm in the Thumb, middle of nowhere. Culture shock, went to East Lansing, loved my time there, and then met my now wife. We moved to the Macomb County area, and now we're in South Lyon. So on a map, I'm all over the place. I've went from small town farmland to the East Lansing University to everywhere in Metro Detroit. So was saying that I think it helps. I've just met a ton of people, a ton of different people. So it helps me relate to a lot of different people, whether it's, you know, a single person who's just trying to get into a first home, a family, an elderly couple. There's just, I've touched so many different people with different backgrounds, and I think it helps be able to relate and just kind of get where those people are for whatever transition they're going through in their life. So I'm fortunate of all of those different aspects, because I know not everybody gets to check all those boxes. So.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. Some people are born and raised in one area and they stay there. And I mean, which is nothing wrong with it, because you're more familiar with that area than most people would be. But with you having the experience in the small towns, the farmlands, the college towns, and even being within the metropolitan area of one of the biggest cities in Michigan, you encompass pretty much what Michigan is, if you ask me, from the farmland, the country land, to the college towns, to the big, metro areas. Like, you have experience in each three of those different areas, and in the culture, the different people that come from those areas, and everyone, kind of different depending on what area you come from and raised in. So
sure,
I can see you using that to your advantage. That's a great way to put it right there. I saw that you mentioned old-fashioned service and state-of-the-art technology in like your business method. Very, very interesting with that. So I want to see if you can provide any examples of how you seamlessly blended these two approaches to enhance a client's experience.
Sure. Yeah, I think with technology, I'll start using Windows still, which is how you and I know each other. You guys have been on the forefront of it for long. And I like to say I was an early adopter, I guess you will. I saw the advantages of it. I think my first couple listings, maybe I took photos myself, and then I'm like, what am I doing? And so using technology, letting the professionals come in. I mean, it was just doing a few photos. Now we're doing drones, we're doing full video tours, we're doing, reels for social media. So using that, I'll argue with anybody, it genuinely helps sell a house quicker, faster, more money, and it's a better experience. You're getting buyers who genuinely want to see that house because they know what they're getting into. So the technology, I think, is a no-brainer. I think everyone should be doing it. The old-fashioned, good old customer service, I think probably some of it is just my upbringing and just how I was taught and raised to just treat everybody with respect and just make sure that they're taken care of. And it's kind of cliche, but I genuinely treat every client like it's my mom, my grandma, a family member. Like, what would I do for them? I'm never going to cut a corner or put myself first. I mean, some of my colleagues will laugh, like, I'll kill deals just because they shouldn't. I don't want the client to get into something they shouldn't. And, a lot of in this industry, unfortunately, we don't have to go down this road, is they're in it for themselves. And I want nothing more than a client to be happy, whether they're buying or selling. So the service just comes from generally caring about people, and just that's where my heart is. I want them to have success in their journey. So.
Yeah, I understand that. See, a lot of people can get caught up in being so tech savvy, being on social media, that they lack that in-person, belly-to-belly interaction, communication skill, which is very, very important. At the end, we are still dealing with humans, no matter how much of a digital world we're moving to. So that customer service aspect, oh man, now that I think about it even more, I just think about some of the people I have to talk to or call on the phone, and how rude they can be just on initial contact.
I know.
Just on initial contact, just saying hello can just be, they can say it in the most rude way ever. So yes, that is very, very vital. There are some companies who lack so much customer service, and it make your blood itch. So I gotta applaud you on that, because we can't undermine that. But I want to ask you, if you are able to share a story or an example of where you did kind of, have a client, or recommend that a client turn down a property because of a situation. You have any examples?
Yeah, I can think of a few. Like we all went through, COVID when it was in the worst case a couple years ago, and real estate kind of, at first we're like, is this going to shut down? Are we even going to be able to sell houses? And then we quickly had to adapt. And so from just a customer service standpoint, clients weren't really able to look at houses the same. And then you still had clients, and with being in Metro Detroit, we have a lot of relocation coming in and out for job purposes. So now you have somebody from California or Texas, and I've had a family moving from Texas, one from just outside of Chicago, and they needed a place to live. So I'm now going, FaceTiming them, taking photos, doing all this, which rewind a few months prior, you didn't have to do that. It was come up on the weekends, we'll take a look, and now they can't cross the state line anymore, so now it's all on me. So there's a ton of pressure, I got to find this house for the family. I better make sure it's a good one. I better make sure they're going to love it. And so we had to do that, and it was interesting at the time, but just kind of going, I guess, above and beyond. In my mind, it was just I had to do it. That was my duty at the time. At the same time, I've had some good friends of mine who are moving back from out of state, and similar, trying to buy a house sight unseen. I'm the eyes and ears on the ground, and some things come up that, whether it's one of my best friends or any of my clients, I genuinely would have said, don't buy this house. But I just know it would have been very easy to just say, yeah, it's a great house. You guys will love it. They're not going to know the difference till they get here in a couple months anyways.
Correct.
It was an absolute no-brainer. No, I know they're not going to like it. Something's wrong. There's an issue here. Live for another day. Let's find another one. There's always another house that can be a better situation. So just taking care of clients, in my opinion, it's easy for me. I know it might be tough for others, but it's just no-brainer for me.
Got you. I appreciate that. And that's a great way to put it also, because during COVID, it was difficult for a lot of people. And as things were kind of working its way out to figure out how we're going to operate things, you did kind of find new, innovative ways to show clients homes, especially, if they are in a completely different area, community, different state. And you gotta. It would take you to be very, very honest about it. Would you put your mom? Would you put yourself in this type of situation? And if the answer is no, obviously you should be expressing that to your client. So, well, way to put that right there, Daniel. When you are going through different showings and, showing clients different things, different properties, they go through the process, and some transactions are a lot more smooth than others. But have you ever encountered a situation where you had to navigate the purchase or sale of a property with a complex legal or zoning restriction by any chance? And can you share that story with us?
Sure. One that comes to mind from a legal perspective, it was a title issue, which is another reason why getting title insurance is such an important part of the process that's often overlooked. But it was a client of mine selling a house, and he was an heir. His mom had passed, and he was now the owner. Well, long story short, when we got ready to close and they were still doing the title process, it turned out that the quitclaim deed that was done a few years back wasn't necessarily done properly. Turns out there was a sibling involved. And then, without getting into the weeds of it, it turned out there was actually six, maybe seven other people who potentially had interest in the property because they were relatives. So, long story short, we had to come up with a plan to get these six aunts and uncles to sign off on a document with the title company saying, yeah, no, I don't have any. I might legally have interest in this property, but I really don't. I shouldn't be affected by this at all. All the proceeds, everything should go to the son. And so at first it was, holy crap, what are we going to do here? It could be a huge, hornet's nest we're getting into. And then we devised the plan with title company, with the seller, myself, and kind of put it all together. And thankfully everyone played nice in the sandbox, and we got through it. But it's one of the things, honestly, it's tough some days, but it's one of the things I love is there's always a problem to be solved, and some are big, some are small, and it's just kind of keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, having to reach out to people urgently requiring them to do something for a transaction that, like you said, they may not even be interested in at all. They could be ignoring your calls because they don't even know where it's coming from, and then think you're like spam or trying to solicit.
Yeah.
I get it. So that's not always as easy as it may seem. Like you just going up to someone and getting their signature proving that they don't want something. Like sometimes you're like, I didn't know I had interest in that. Let me look into that a little bit further. It could have went so many different ways, but you know, you handled that right, and if the cards fell in your hand too, so you don't always get them like that.
No, you don't.
What about a weird situation where maybe you're showing a home, entering a home, and you had a nosy neighbor or someone in the community that may have started some type of conflict, either with you or with the actual owner or seller or buyer or anything? Any situation like that where you had to mediate conflict between neighbors?
Yeah, I mean, you get them every now and then. Thankfully, it's not too bad. You get a couple nosy neighbors who some are vindictive. They're trying to hold up a sale or be, negative towards it. Some are just nosy. They're just like, hey, I want to see what's going on. What comes to mind, I've had a couple instances more so with like tenants who are, maybe I'm selling an investment property for one of my clients who's an investor, and the tenants are there. They have, it's their place where they live. Nothing wrong with that. But maybe they don't want the sale to come through. Maybe they're going to hold it up. They don't want buyers to come in and take a look at it. And so I've had a few instances, had to get creative, have some just heart-to-heart conversations. Hey, we're not trying to do anything wrong. We're not trying to displace you. You can stay. But I'm going to need your, help here. And, transparently, maybe it's, hey, here's a gift card. Take the family out to dinner. Let us do some showings. Like, I understand we're inconveniencing you. It's on me. Go get some food. Go get some ice cream. Like, we're all in this together. And just, I think, coming to common ground of like, I get it. I know you don't want to deal with this. You don't own the house, but I really need you here. Like, I need us all to be on the same team.
Right.
Knock on wood, so far it got me through those situations. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's good to hear, man. And you're going to deal with that. Nosy neighbors, people. I didn't think about the one with the tenants not wanting to, you to go through with the sale and doing everything that they can. I can see that though, but I've never thought about that until you brought it up. That would be interesting right there.
Yeah.
Like,
or they just, leave, they don't clean up or just conveniently leave some weird stuff out to just kind of make it uncomfortable. But,
right.
we've navigated it. We've been able to get it all worked out.
Yeah, like put a cactus in the kitchen or something like that. Just something super random. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about. Okay, good. Glad that you know how to navigate through stuff like that too, Daniel. So what I want to learn from you as a professional, something that you can share with other professionals, what key lessons, when you look back on your career, have you learned about yourself, the industry, and the importance of serving others?
Sure. First thing comes to mind, the easy one, like I said earlier, is just putting the client first, not thinking of ourselves. Don't be selfish. My business is 99% repeat and referral business. It grows every year from past clients referring people they know. And I think I've gotten it to that point by just doing the right thing and not thinking of the quick paycheck if I sell this house, but what's the right thing for the client. So generally, I think that would be a great approach for agents to just be honest and help their clients to the best of their ability. Learned about myself is, and I'm still working through this, is it doesn't have to be perfect. Not everything has to be. Now, when you're marketing a house, that needs to be perfect, or as close to perfect. But as far as the back end of the business, you can always improve the systems. You can always improve your follow-up. You can leverage and get other help. And that's something that, you don't always have to take on everything yourself. And also on that note, most real estate situations are not an emergency. If it's an emergency, call 911. But if it's, somebody has to get in to see a house or something similar, like it can always be worked out. It doesn't have to be worked out in, the next 60 seconds. You can kind of get some things that are more important done. So
I love that, man. I don't know where I heard that from recently. Maybe it was when I was doing research on you, but I heard someone else mention something like that. Like, nothing's really an emergency. Like, there's always solutions to all problems. Yeah. So, I mean, it's really just you overreacting initially, without you thinking through things through. So
things are going to go sideways. Like, we have the easy deals that are seamless, start to finish. And then you have the majority of deals have some hiccups. And then you have the total crazy ones that you really have to navigate. But, like, and I'm a pretty good problem solver, and a lot of times the clients don't even know what I'm doing, which I take pride in. Of like, hey, they don't need to know if they need to know, of course they need to know, but it's like, that's my job. I'm going to handle the problems, the hiccups and bumps and bruises, but just kind of prioritizing, like, is this a big deal, or can we all take a deep breath and can we all come up with a solution? Because most of the time you can work something out.
Most of the time. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. Well said, man. Thank you for that message. And thank you again, Daniel, for accepting our invitation to the closing table and pulling up a chair. We appreciate that. At this point, if you have any last words and or want to tell people how to reach out to you, please do so now.
Sure. No, thanks, Kevin, for the invite. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure here sitting and talking with you for the last few minutes. So, and to anyone out there watching, feel free to reach out if you have any questions, if I can ever help with anything real estate related. Pretty simple these days. Just type in my name. I pop up everywhere, whether it's social media or my website, or cell phone's 586-260-8118. Like I said, kind of old school. I'll answer it. I'll talk to you, and we can solve any real estate concerns or issues or needs that you have.
Yep. Back to the basics, baby. Appreciate that. Thank you again. And for our YouTube audience watching right now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, please do us both a favor and hit the like button. We would appreciate that. Make sure you also subscribe to our channel and share the content also. And if you are listening on Apple, Spotify, or any other podcast platform, please do the same. Give us a like, 5-star rating, and subscribe for our latest content. Daniel, I like to leave our audience with a question on their way out the door. That way they get their brains turning. So this is for you, audience. Would you prefer for your real estate agent to have a degree from a traditional 4-year college or university? Why or why not? Don't tell us now. Leave it in the comments below. Besides that, we'll talk to you next time.